Are you unsure that you're doing what God is telling you? Do you feel like there's something more or something else that you're supposed to be doing to further the kingdom? God called us all to live a life that He laid out for us and fulfill our purpose. Today, I'm talking about your ministry, your calling, your job. Ladies, are you in a new season of your life? Are you searching for clarity in your career? Do you need the freedom to focus on yourself? Are you ready to follow God's plan for your life? Welcome to Choose Your Next Yes. Hi, Kindred. I'm Mel, a professional woman, mom of grown-ups, coffee, and Jesus lover. I've had a lot of big life changes, and I haven't always been clear about God's plan for me. So I pursued too many of the wrong things in my life and career. This led to stress, anxiety, and a lack of self-care. I finally stopped moving on my own and started listening to God's voice to find clarity and peace and achieve my goals. And now my mission is to help you learn to listen to God's voice and know when to say yes to the right things and no to everything else. Let me show you how to clarify your purpose and pursue your personal and professional goals in this next phase of life. Pour yourself a cup of joe and grab a notebook and pen. Kindred, it's time to focus on yourself and reclaim the woman you once aspired to be. My calling is educating others. It's my passion because God made it my passion and He gave me a talent in this area. I was not a great educator when I started, and I will always have growth areas, but He equipped me to get started, and He adjusts my tools as I go to ensure that I'm able to continue on the path that He laid out for me. Even Jesus' life was predetermined, and He was equipped to complete the ministry He was assigned. He did it with conviction, and He didn't fight it, even though He, unlike us, knew where the journey led. Jesus knew the exact end outcome, and He still forged ahead and did exactly what He was supposed to do. We don't know exactly what our destination looks like. We just have to trust God that He's leading us where we're supposed to go. I don't know if I would want to know where my destination was going to end up. That was probably a very heavy burden for Jesus to carry all of His life. I do know that our jobs we have along the way are part of our ministry and where much of our growth happens. Every job is important. Society puts a hierarchy on every job. We look at CEOs as more important than laborers. But without those laborers, the CEOs would have to walk to work and would probably be working in a shack somewhere on the back 40 because there wouldn't be office buildings to work in without those awesome laborers. In the Bible, skilled laborers were used to craft the temples. Men did heavy lifting and forging. Women sewed linens and curtains. Every single job was important then, and every single job is important now. In the schools that I've worked in, custodians are just as important as teachers. Kids can be gross, and I don't want to clean up after them. Our wonderful custodians not only clean up after every single person, they also build those relationships with the kids and the adults in the building. I have 3 children of my own, 3 boys, and they all have extremely different personalities and extremely different talents. My oldest works in the medical field and absolutely loves it. He's also a volunteer firefighter, and he is so extremely tech savvy, it's unreal. And he's self-taught when it comes to his technology knowledge. My middle son went to college and got his heavy equipment technology degree and works for an extremely successful equipment company. He is extremely detail-oriented and organized. My youngest son is just getting ready to graduate high school, and he already has his career laid out in the welding field. He has such a great mental capacity for doing this type of work, and he is able to figure out things mechanically that I could never even imagine doing. I'm lucky to be able to put gas in my car some days. One of the best things about my boys is that no matter what I need, I can call one of them and they are able to help me. They are so extremely talented and they take care of their mama, and I love them dearly for it. Having adult children that can help you through things as an adult is so wonderful. Today, I'm going to share 4 reasons your career is part of your ministry. Number 1, our calling is ordained. Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand so that we would walk in them." Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." You were chosen before you were born for a specific purpose at a specific time. David was preordained to be king. Moses was preordained to lead the people out of Egypt. Their choices, however, shaped the path of that predetermination. Life gives you experiences, perceptions, and mental models, and it helps shape our career choices. We still were preordained for something specific. God had a perfect plan. We are his masterpiece, and we were called for something specific. However, he gives us the freedom to choose the path that we want to go down, but he gives us specific inclinations toward a specific path. And our attitudes and our life choices determine whether or not we get to stay on that path for our life or for our career that he chose for us. He still gives us freedom to apply for specific jobs that we would like to have, or take college classes or courses that lead us to the career that we would love to have. But he did put or instill in us those inclinations that I mentioned towards specific careers. And if he didn't, then we wouldn't be brave enough to do certain things, or we would say, "Oh, I love the career that person has," and everybody would want that career because they make lots of money, or they are famous, or whatever the case may be. And we all would choose something similar, or we might choose something similar. And he wants us to have different careers. And so he puts different passions and interests in us. Number 2, our calling is unique. No one has the same career path as you. No one has the same career path as me. And it's not always about the destination. Sometimes it's about the journey getting there. My journey is not the same as other educators or podcasters or moms or wives. They're all different. And your journey is not the same as someone else who's in the same career field as you. Maybe you didn't start college right out of high school. Maybe you got married and raised some children first and then started college. Maybe you went to a 4-year college and you got your degree in education or whatever the field you're in the 4 years that it takes to make it through college. Me, on the other hand, it took me a while. I was going to a college in my town and I was taking night courses and working during the day. So it took me a little longer. It actually took me 8 years. And during that time, I changed majors. I started as a business major and I was 27 hours from graduation and changed my major. I changed it to education, so it took me a little longer, but I was so happy when I did that, and I did not regret it one bit. I also didn't pray about things before I started to make sure that I was on the path that God wanted me on. Ephesians 1:4 says, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. In love, he predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ, in accordance with his pleasure and will." And Ephesians 1:11 and 12 says, "In him we are also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will, in order that we, who were the first to put our hope in Christ, might be for the praise of his glory." We all have a unique calling and a different journey to that destination. And number 3, our calling is perfectly timed. We couldn't have been born at a different time for our specific purpose. God chose this specific time for you to be born. A long time ago, I really wish I had been born in the 1800s. I absolutely loved Laura Ingalls Wilder and Little House on the Prairie. It was one of my favorite things to watch. And I was just like so enamored with the way they lived back then in the horse-drawn wagons and all of the things. That was pre-menopausal season, of course, before I started having hot flashes, because I'm thinking, they wore long dresses and long sleeves. They walked a lot of places when it was hot. And I don't think they probably had great deodorant back then. And I struggle with that now. My point is that I am so glad that God chose this time in history for me to be born. It was perfect, and His timing is perfect. And not only did He put you in the perfect timeline in history, He's also working everything for your good. There may be circumstances that you're not aware of that He's working out for you to do the thing that He wants you to do. And at this particular moment, He may just need you to be patient while He works everything out. That doesn't mean sit idle. That means wait on Him, but continue to grow yourself and grow your skills. You cannot force what He has in store for you. And if you try to force whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to go to college and you try to force it, or get that job that you just really, really want because you just know that's your perfect job, but for whatever reason, it's just not working out and you're trying to force it, you may end up with that job. But it may not be the job that you were intended to have, and you're going to struggle with that job. And I'm speaking from experience here, friends. God doesn't want you not to have a job, but He also wants you to trust Him to bring you the correct job. You don't have to sit idle and wait. You can still grow your skills while you wait. And number 4, we are equipped. It's very easy to have imposter syndrome or to feel like you just aren't skilled enough to do a certain job or you're not equipped enough to do that job. If you try to avoid it, what I'm saying is don't avoid it. If you try to avoid what God has in store for you and you're just like, I'm too scared, then you're not only cheating yourself, you're cheating God, and you may be cheating others out of a skill or something that you have that they really need. Getting on here a couple of times a week, it's hard for me sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I don't really know what to say. I'm not the best podcaster in the world, that's for sure. You can definitely tell by just listening. I make mistakes. I say, but I have something to say, and He's given me the skill to do research and to look things up and study and learn. But if I just keep it all to myself, then it's really not doing any good for anyone else. So all of the things that I learn, that I study, that I put into my podcast is helping you in some way. At least I hope it is. And the things I'm putting out there on this podcast are things that I have walked through. Many of them are things that I have walked through. And He's giving me the inspiration when I create the episodes, because that's what He wants me to say to you. It's not about me. It's not about what I want to say. I pray over my podcast episodes, and I have been known to walk down the hallways at school and pray over classrooms, pray over the halls. I pray over teachers' desks, certain students' desks. I pray over the halls and the desks and my podcast and over you all because I want the best possible outcome. I want to be effective in what I do, and I want you to be effective in what you do. And I want God to lead you in the right direction. Whatever career you choose, I want it to be ordained by God and blessed by God. Ephesians 2:8-10 says, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." He gave you a directive, and He wants you to do it. We're scared sometimes, and that's okay. I was scared the first time I stepped into a classroom. I was scared the first time I had a baby. I was scared when I got my driver's license. We're all scared about certain things, but that doesn't stop us from those things. If everybody who was scared of getting a driver's license didn't get one, there would be a whole lot less people going places and working outside the home. And those who were brave enough to do it would have an excellent career delivering groceries. So whatever God has put on your heart, pray about it, seek some counsel, some mentorship, see what you need to do to make it happen. If you need to take some classes, if you just need to brush up on some skills you already have, if you just need to put yourself out there and apply for that job, then do it. Do not be afraid. If you apply for a job that God doesn't want you to have, guess what, my friend? You're not going to get that job more than likely. But if you don't apply at all, you're not going to get that job. So let's recap. Number 1, our calling is ordained. Number 2, our calling is unique and our journey is just as unique. Number 3, our calling is perfectly timed. You could not have been born at a different time for your destination. And number 4, we are equipped. Do not be scared to try something new because you may fail, but you will learn from those failures, which will make you stronger and make you succeed. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed today's content. And if you did, please hop on over to Apple Podcast and leave me a rating and a review. That's the only way I know which content you enjoy, and it helps me grow the show. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I would also like to invite you to join our Facebook group, Sisterhood of the Marvelous Midlife Women, where we're getting to know each other and supporting each other in each phase and season of life. And you can join by clicking the link in the show notes. I hope today's show was a blessing as you continue on your path toward everything that God has in store for your life. And may the Lord bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift you up and give you peace. Have an amazing day, my friends.